If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Former Nigeria President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan has reacted to the declaration of state of emergency, partial military rule in Rivers State and the suspension of the governor of the state, Siminalayi Fubara, and the State House of Assembly lawmakers by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whom Jonathan accused of abuse of office, power and privileges, with the former president saying that the presidency led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the National Assembly, NASS led by both Honourable Tajudeen Abbas, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Senator Godswill Akpabio, the Senate President and the National Judicial Council, NJC led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun, know the right thing to do but they refuse to it, citing an Indian proverbs that says, "When a person is really sleeping, it is easy to wake up such a person, but when a person is pretending to be sleeping, it is very difficult to wake up such a person," and thereafter categorically stated that the three arms of government in Nigeria are pretending to be sleeping, with emphasis that no business investor brings his or her money to invest in a country where the executive dictates for judges what the judgment should be. The former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who once as the president of Nigeria declared a state of emergency in some northern states without suspending civil rule or allowing the military to take over the governance of the states, stated this while speaking as the chairman at the Hask Satumari Foundation colloquium in Abuja on Saturday. These actions by key actors in the executive and legislative arms of government paint the country in a negative light, Jonathan said. Jonathan said although it is not the norm for former presidents to comment on issues in the polity so as not to heat up the polity, he insisted that the image of the country and how much investments a country attracts is heavily dependent on the actions of the executive, legislature and judiciary of the country. According to him, his comment was necessitated by persistent calls from many Nigerians to speak on the events in Rivers State as a prominent son of the Niger Delta. The former Nigerian leader said, "We're talking about building a society where no one is oppressed, as reflected in the top paragraph of our national anthem." As a former president, and also from the Niger Delta, when the issue of suspending the governor came out, I think people called on me, "President Jonathan, you should say something." What is happening in Nigeria today regarding the situation in Rivers States is like an Indian proverb that said that if somebody is sleeping, really sleeping, you can easily wake up that person. But if that person is pretending to sleep, you find it difficult to wake up that person. The key actors in Nigeria, from executives to the legislature and the judiciary, they know the correct thing to do, but they are refusing to do it. They are pretending to sleep. Waking such a person is extremely difficult, but the person knows the right thing. The clear abuse of offices, clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges, cutting across from the three arms of government, from the executive to the parliament to the judiciary. And I always plead with our people that whatever we do affects everybody. No businessman can bring his money to invest in a country where the judiciary is compromised, where a government functionary can dictate to judges what judgment they will give. No man brings his money to invest in that economy because we are taking a big risk. So whatever we do affects everybody. And if we want to build a nation where our children and our grandchildren, no matter how painful it is, we must strive to do what is right. It may cost us, but we must endeavor, and pay the price to insist on doing what is right. Whether you are holding an executive office as a president, a minister, governor, or special advisor, executive, whether you are holding an office in the parliament, senate, or rep, whether you are a judicial officer in high courts or appellate courts, we must strive to do what is right. If we want to build a nation that our children will be proud of. As we engage in these discussions, let us remember that promoting social change is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. It requires a sustained commitment, collective action, and unwavering dedication to the values that promote good governance. Former Nigeria President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's words end in quotes. We have reported that the Rivers State's partial military ruler, a retired Vice Admiral and former Nigeria Chief of Naval Staff, Wike-Fubara Abbas, on Thursday evening made his maiden statewide broadcast, calling on any troublemakers apparently speaking directly to the militants who have been linked to the destruction and bombing of crude oil pipelines in the state, to desist from such act henceforth, because his government, as appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a sole administrator in Rivers State and approved by both the House of Representatives and the Senate of the National Assembly on Thursday, has no patience to act against any action that threatened the peace, social and economic stability of the oil-rich Rivers State. This former presidential spokesperson on new media, Bashir Ahmed, revealed that it was under the leadership of former President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018 that the National Assembly repealed and enacted a new law that gave the President the powers to suspend an elected sitting governor and lawmakers in the State House of Assembly, but, by Nigeria legal system, the acts enacted by the National Assembly automatically becomes null and void when the acts or laws enacted by the National Assembly contradicted or violated any section of the Nigeria 1999 Constitution as amended. We have reported that the Nigeria lawmakers in the lower chamber of the House of Representatives have approved the proclamation and declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State, along with the 6-month suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the Assembly, as announced by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday night. We have reported that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu aide, Nyesom Wike, who is the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and the immediate past governor of Rivers State, that is widely believed to be the apparent root cause of the political crisis in the state, who, shortly after the swearing-in of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, Wike helped to the seat of power, was accused by the sitting governor, Siminalayi Fubara, of trying to use the State House of Assembly to frustrate and impeach him from office, simply because he, Fubara, refused to accept certain terms and conditions they both had in private, which, till now, both refused to tell the public. The apparent personal political misunderstandings that made the governor, Fubara, to resort to self-defense by thus applying some measures within his powers as the governor to frustrate and stop his impeachment from the probably instigated Rivers State House of Assembly lawmakers, whose majority of them, up to 27 members, are seemingly loyal to the FCT minister, who, Wike, a few days ago, was the person that announced through the media to the general public that if an or son, Siminalayi Fubara, is impeached, nothing would happen, a statement he made, suggesting he may have conspired with the lawmakers to impeach the governor, because by his statements during the press conference, he was probably already doing damage control even when the House of Assembly has not served the governor an impeachment notice. But, in the face of the foregoing facts, the Nigeria Minister of Justice and the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, at a press briefing a few hours ago at the State House in Abuja, exonerated the FCT minister and said categorically that the FCT minister has no hand in the political crisis that has engulfed the oil-rich Rivers State, leading to militants bombing crude oil pipelines to destroy Nigeria's economy, probably as a way of protesting against the federal government's seemingly one-sided style of handling misunderstandings in the state. We had reported that 2 female lawmakers, Marie Ebekake, PDP, Bayelsa State, and Blessing Amadi, PDP, Rivers State, on Wednesday engaged in a heated argument, almost leading to a fight at the National Assembly ahead of the plenary session scheduled by the National Assembly leadership to discuss, approve or reject the proclamation of state of emergency declared on Tuesday night by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the apparent personal political crisis between the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and Tinubu's aide, Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister and the immediate past governor of the South State. We had reported that the former vice president of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, and former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, both of whom were co-contestants as presidential candidates in the last presidential election in Nigeria, have reacted to the state of emergency and suspension of elected government in Rivers State by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with Atiku accusing and describing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a vested partisan actor in the political turmoil engulfing Rivers State. We had reported that the Nigeria president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in a nationwide broadcast on Tuesday evening, for the first time more than a decade in the history of the West Africa country, declared a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspended for initial 6 months the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, all elected members of the State House of Assembly, and appointed retired Vice Admiral Ibok Tibas as administrator to work with the existing laws of Rivers State with the members of the state judiciary following the apparent personal political crisis between the Rivers State governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and his former boss and the immediate past governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, who is currently the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, that was seen a few days ago in a viral video apparently making careless statements as a government official, statements capable of instigating a particular ethnic group against the government, wherein the FCT minister has said thus, that Ijaw people, a minority group in the South, and if their son, Fubara, is impeached, nothing would happen. After the statements, Wike refused to apologize to the Ijaw people despite public outcry and condemnations. Days after, as confirmed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, some militants started destroying crude oil pipelines in Rivers State as media reports trends and indicated that pro-Wike lawmakers may have concluded plans to impeach Governor Siminalayi Fubara.
What is happening in the country, everybody talks about Rivers State on television, and some of these are the issues we discuss. We are talking about building a society where no one is oppressed, as reflected in the top paragraph of our national anthem. As a former president and also from the Niger Delta, when the issue of suspending the governor came up, I think people call on me, oh, President Jonathan, oh, President Obasanjo, you should say something. People expected us to say something about what is happening. And of course, people don't even know that traditionally all over the world, former presidents hardly make statements about what the current presidents are doing because of the tension it could create in the country. In most cases, look at America, look at everywhere. So hardly for former presidents to make, sometimes you see and you look. And of course, what is happening in Nigeria today regarding the situation in Rivers State is like an Indian proverb that said that if somebody is sleeping, really sleeping, you can easily wake up that person. But if the person is pretending to sleep, you find it difficult to wake up that person. The key actors in Nigeria, from executive to the legislature, luckily Senator Binta and others are here, and the judiciary, they know the correct thing to do. But they are refusing to do it. They are pretending to sleep. And waking such a person is extremely difficult because the person knows the right thing. A clear abuse of offices, clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges, cutting across from the three arms of government, from the executive to the parliament to the judiciary. And I always plead with our people that whatever we do affects everybody. And sometimes we do things and we think that it doesn't affect us. I've been a president before, and even after leaving office as a former president, people get to me. Why is that our passport is not valued that much? Why is that Nigerians are not given the kind of treatment we're supposed to receive at the international airports? Sometimes we think it's because of Yahoo boys or 419. No, not only them. Yes, they are part of the problem. But whatever happens in a country, decisions that are taken by the executive arm of government, decisions that are taken by the parliament, judicial decisions affect everybody. For example, no businessman can bring his money to invest in a country where the judiciary is compromised, where a government functionary can dictate to judges what judgment they will give. No man brings his money to invest in that economy because we are taking a big risk. So whatever we do affects everybody. And if we must build a nation for our children and our grandchildren, no matter how painful it is, we must strive to do what is right. It may cost us, but we must endeavor and pay the price to insist on doing what is right. Whether you are holding an executive office as a president, a minister, or a governor, or a special advisor, or executive, whether you are holding an office in the parliament, senate, or rep, whether you're a judicial officer at the high courts or appellate courts, we must strive to do what is right. If we want to build a nation that our children will be proud of.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.